usual, I'm not here alone. I have my beautiful Ella, good morning.
Good morning.
And Toby, good morning. These ladies are looking beautiful and well rested. Oh gosh. How was Eric Tuckman?
The week was busy. The week was, learning from other people's experiences and not waiting till you go through it. So this week has been, I don't go to the office. I go home and try and sleep each day. I'm grateful to God for life, and I'm going to be appealing that I don't rest, because even now I'm telling myself I need to make time for my health so that I'll not be forced to make time for myself being ill, because I still have a little strength to come, and I'm still showing up. In actual fact, I should not
be resting.
I should be on my bed, but
you should be resting.
Yeah, I'm not learning from
their bodies are given to them until they break down, and then they begin to learn what the signals are. But Damola, as beautiful as ever.
I'm loving your last
short hair.
Give them. Thank you. Yeah, my week has been busy. I think this is my fourth time on set today. This week actually. So, but then I just want to rant about people who borrow money and do not pay back.
Someone must have done you.
Yes, they are doing me strong thing, very strong thing, because before now I had made up my mind not to give people money that I cannot let go. But then your trusted allies come to you and you think, okay, this is my person, I can bend my rules. Yeah. And then by the time you start asking for your money, they start giving you an attitude. On top of my own money, I'm not begging you.
Now they came
exactly. So I'm asking people to please have integrity. If you're going to borrow money, the same energy that you brought to ask for that money, please have sleepless nights on top of that money. Do not rest.
If you like, call me out.
Exactly, you're serving me.
Boys came back from Ibadan. Just met my husband in there, and we're like, hey, but the boys are really fine. And
how are you doing? How was your week?
My week was a lot productive, yes, and because I got an opportunity, which I'll be talking about later, when everything falls in. That took a major part of my time this week, alongside work, planning for my colleague that left, that bowed out yesterday, talking about. So it was just here and there, and you find yourself, make the best use of it. And that's the message I'm putting out for anyone there, whatever the platform, because that's what happened to my colleague. From outside, we're rooting for you. We know the matter of you sharing your stories with us is still on. You can send your mails to @yourview@tvcommunications.tv. We'd love to read from you.
Be right back.
With us right now, we will be looking through the newspaper headlines, and we begin with the Nation newspaper. The major story here says 180 billion naira palliatives. Afenifere, Ohaneze, Pandef hail federal government as NEF kicks to register intervention timely, says Ondo acting governor. Another story here says why I was set free after arrest for coup again. Here. The story, okay. I'm happy someone took that story, because I'd like to hear the details. How DPP reports misled court to leader. Strange husband labels her action Nollywood drama. CBN returns BDCs to forex markets with on the front page of the Nation news.
The challenge Nigeria has been facing with forex, the fact that we don't have enough, the fact that naira keeps dropping, but naira gained over the past, allowed the bureau de change access back to foreign exchange markets, but with new guidelines. They've been clamoring for it, that we should also allow bureau de change. That would reduce the
speculation.
Arbitrage and speculation between the official and the unofficial market. So the naira yesterday closed at 8 star. Businesses are
not smiling.
It's a terrible. It's 739 to $1. So even though it's expensive, and I'm praying there is stiff implementation of this new regulation?
That's always the
on
challenge. That's the challenge we have.
Sustainability.
We have it good on paper, but implementation looks good. But then why is it that we find it difficult to implement? We hope that this time around we'll get it right and we get some stability to float the Naira as when it was. So, but then we'll see how things pan out at the end of the day.
Yeah.
So you have a story here?
Yes.
Which one?
Notorious terrorist leader with 16-year-old in the community, also in the area. And Dogo Gide has been in the news lately for being responsible for shooting down the Air Force M171 the week, or I think upper week. And so he now goes on to marry this 16-year-old girl, and the story doesn't highlight if she was married under duress. But it just
Well, it has to be under duress in the first place.
she married
She's
protecting the area.
Wow.
Right, to be sure that
wedding
nobody
must take
interferes.
place.
Please, it was a wedding. And they said they killed rams.
For years.
As government.
That has been taken
I don't
away from her as it is, and it's without her consent. I would say that
The article does
that
because-
it is without her consent. Article did not say,
Yeah,
but we
but
know
it's-
But as
that for marriage, it's about who she's getting married to.
But, and it's
There's no way she.
out for the community, that the community guys are on his side, but he's after the military who are bent on front.
That's a bold statement coming from him, but we hope that the authorities who are out after them will know what to do, what steps to take with the Naira palliatives that the federal government put forward. 6 states of the federal, 100,000 bags of rice for each state, 5 billion Naira, 52% will be given as grants. But the issue is, now that you understand how this money is being disbursed, how the grains are being disbursed, such that everyone, as much as possible, gets to benefit from this palliative being put forward by the government. It is a good thing that the government has decided that to involve the 36 states of the Federation to be part of the process. Hope that every other state will do so, such that there'll be some level of transparency, and then trust can be reposed on government to deliver. All right, before we go to the Punch newspaper, we have to go on a break. When we return, we'll continue looking through the newspaper headlines. Just stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, make welcome Pioneer in a right and long-standing member of the multiple award-winning all-female show Your View, Omoyeni, Yeni, Anikulapo Kuti, aka YK Power! Ginger!
Yeah, take it. Yeah, you have to answer question. You have to drink.
We're in trouble today.
Wait be your age. Fellas house wasn't even born till 75.
So, will I drink half?
You go drink. Take. Make I help you. Russian.
No be half. I try.
Which half? You will make me drink. I'll give you a hint.
Lights in no. Nepa Road. Nepa Road in Abeokuta.
First of all,
Bug, a big black bug.
oh sorry, a big
It don't start.
ọmọ ọmọ Fẹlá ọmọ Aníkúlápó Kútì wọ́n rò pé kíní kékeré yìí.
It's by Audison. It's not by Audison.
Archon DG's attempt. Another story on this, on the punch.
Shot dead in dispute somewhere in Ibejuleki. The person who passed on is Chief Fatai Jubril, the slain Bale of Lotu Town in Ibejuleki local government area of Lagos State. And so on this particular day, some people came, identified only as Omotola. The Omotola guy instructed the police.
Today. It's a sad situation that we have a regulation challenge, we have abuse of power, we have manipulation of the institutions that are meant to protect us by some people. Because when you go and see those tussles, you see police officers or you see NSCDC, people that are actually meant to protect. Enforcing against is just wrong.
Let me take this entertainment story. The headline says, "Kissing actor with bad breath, weirdest movie experience."
I know you think that's
and it's coming from Diva Gold. Diva Gold is a skit maker and actress. Her real name is Olukemi Niyi Aluko. And she said that kissing an actor with a bad breath was her most unusual experience. She said that she was on a movie set, and when she moved close to, kiss the guy because of the role that she was supposed to play, the breath just almost took her out. But she was still trying to be a professional and not make the kiss too deep. But then the actor was still coming, after.
Because he wasn't aware.
Yes, he really wanted to get into the role. And it's just really important for everyone to take their dental or their oral health hygiene,
If diplomacy fails, that is what they said. If diplomacy fails. And so they are hoping that the conversations that will be had in the coming days, because the military junta in Niger are saying they are open to having conversations. They had said that with ECOWAS. And we are hoping there will be some positive development in the coming days with regards to the conversations that they will be having. Yes, there are calls for the return of Bazoum as the president, but that will be determined with whatever conversation ECOWAS has with the military. It will determine if Bazoum will be returned or not. But what is expected is that there will be a return to constitutional order in the coming days. Any other story?
Yes, a really sad story of Utubasi, who is a Nigerian footballer, lost his father when he was very young. Later on, he wanted to play football as young as when he was 9. As a teenager, I think about 12, 13, he went to Kwara by himself because, of course, his mom was struggling to raise the children. And while he was in Kwara, the mom said she knew that it was a bit weird to abandon her little child to go to Kwara, but the boy loved football and he was able to play in the Nigerian Premier League, and from there he was scouted to join a Norwegian team, which was a big deal, and there are pictures of him playing in Norway, playing for a team, but his agents actually scammed him.
Wow.
He didn't get a good contract, and he had to pay for his taxes out of the little allowance he had, and at the end of the day, he had to return back to Nigeria with nothing.
Wow,
so very unfortunate situation. He's sharing the story that till now he doesn't really understand what was the discrepancy between his contract. He just signed because he was trusted. The agent was taking him there. He played well. He heard that he made a lot of money, but he never got any of the money. And he came back to Nigeria. His picture looks like this is not a picture of someone that had gone to play at that level based on how he's looking, and his family are still living in abject poverty. We, the people of Nigeria, hurting ourselves, scamming ourselves, and it's just a sad story.
It is, and it's a lesson to others. Ensure you know what your contracts, what's in the details of your contracts are, and if you need a lawyer to also come in to play to help you interpret whatever it is so that you get your money, you worked for it, and someone else shouldn't reap or benefit from your effort at the end of the day. But let's quickly move on now to Saturday's Sun, and the major stories here is fireworks over Tinubu's ministers, upset shock over ministerial portfolios, round pegs not in round holes. ACF, Iowa Consultative Forum, is saying that Ministers' list shows Tinubu's determination to bring positive change. YCE President status as Petroleum Minister divides stakeholders. And another one here says, Oyo Makinde declares August 20 annual public holiday for traditional worshippers. For 100,000 malnourished children in Northeast, UNICEF saying this: we resist plans to scrap Niger Delta Ministry, PANDEF reacting. Openembe turmoil persists in Bayelsa community. Kidnapping, how we implicate innocent Nigerians. Suspects are saying this. Deadly blow to sit at home. Southeast governors, IPOB move against enforcers. Life returns to Enugu, other towns, cities. And there we have Southwest Catholic bishops warn ECOWAS against war in Niger. Jos, how prison officers escorted inmate to withdraw ransom. Plus government petitions police 6 probe. Who has the story?
Yes, sir. I have how prison officers escorted inmate to withdraw ransom. So the Plateau State Ministry of Justice has asked the police in Jos, the state capital, to investigate the status of a suspect, Jethro Ungusen, an inmate of Jos Custodial Center, how he was escorted to a bank by prison officials to withdraw money. So Mr. Jethro Unguse was one of the suspects that was arrested in relation to Padariye Defon's kidnap. That's the father of the former governor of Plateau State, Joshua Dariye. So Padariye, 93, was kidnapped and killed after his abductors had allegedly collected 10 million naira ransom from his family. And there was a court order to remand this suspect in prison, but he was seen in a bank withdrawing parts of the ransom. So it was one of the bank officials that alerted the A division of the Plateau State Police Command, and then they stormed the bank to arrest the suspect. So the Ministry of Justice is petitioning the police, and they are asking them to produce an update on the current investigation, how the man escaped from their custody, and if he was granted the bail, they need information about his sureties, because they are really, really concerned about the, compromise and misuse of privilege or unauthorized activities in the light of charges of criminal conspiracy, kidnapping, and murder of Padariye Defon against the defendants. So they need an update.
I have the story on the World Humanitarian Day, where UNICEF says 400,000 malnourished children are in the Northeast. So there was a press conference in Borno over the week, and UNICEF was the one who held the press conference, and they called on organizations to give more support for children in the conflict and prone areas. The UNICEF has actually also moved to the area to provide support for children with both severe and moderate cases of malnutrition. The article links malnutrition also in the area to the kidnappings in the area, the insurgency also in the area, and all these things at the end of the day cannot be as standalones. They are interwoven, and when we see the effect of one thing like insurgency,
at the heart of it is poverty.
Yes, exactly.
At the heart of it.
At the heart of it. So all these things are also things that the UNICEF is currently looking to lend a voice, especially in the Northeast in Nigeria.
A really sad development, but we need to quickly go on a break. When we return, we'll continue looking through the newspaper headlines. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your view will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, very deep topical issues, and last but not least, a healthy dose of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Table. So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder
All right, thank you for staying with us. Unfortunately, we cannot continue looking through the newspaper headlines because this segment will be applauding a worthy champion whose recent remarkable feat cannot be overlooked. She was recently recognized by the British Council and Cambridge Assessment International Education. She was given 2 British Council recognition and Outstanding Cambridge Learners Awards, in one top in the world award for having the highest mark in Nigeria in Cambridge International as AS level psychology. Right, I hope I got that right. A high achievement award for having the highest mark in Nigeria in Cambridge International AS and A level. Now, these levels examination are conducted in over 145 countries of the world with over 1 million students seating in the exams annually. Welcome 18-year-old Oluwabukolami Adeyemi. Congratulations. Thank you. Good morning. We celebrate you. Now, to join the conversation, you can call us on 081-0764-1679 or 090-241-63440 or tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourView on TVC. Oluwabukolami. I love that name. I like how it is called. Congratulations once again. This is your first attempt at this, according to the details I found.
Yes, it is.
Right. So what inspired you to go to whole hog? How did you achieve this? What did you do differently? Because it happens in 145 countries. There are a lot of persons your age who perhaps also did this, but you did something differently that made you get this recognition. Give us the behind-the-scenes story of what you did.
I think to start the behind-the-scenes story, I have to just mention God, because that's the most important factor in everything that went down.
Right.
The saying that goes, pray as if everything depends on God, work as if everything depends on you. I feel like that's really describes my entire experience in preparing for the exam. With what I did differently, I would say the major thing I did was prioritize.
What exactly did you prioritize?
My academics, definitely. It comes with the recognition that my academics was extremely sacrosanct, and I just had to put it first before all else. So I actually did try to understand what worked for me, how I would read, the time I would read, and how long I would spend reading something. So I would rather spend 1 hour reading actively than spending 6 hours reading passively and just like looking at the book and flipping through. And I think a major factor that also contributed to my success was support. I had a lot of support from my family and had a lot of support from my school. I attended Chrisland Pre-Degree College, which is a sixth form college, where they take the Cambridge AS and A-level qualifications and other qualifications as well.
That's nice. I like the fact that you had structure to whatever you wanted to do, and you were able to recognize when the number of hours you needed to get in what was necessary to achieve this result. So who's going next?
So usually I'm really happy about this news. We hear in this year we've had a bit of drama regarding results. You know, and from the JAM and the poor girls story. So it's interesting that this is verified achievement from you. How did that make you, your parents feel? What was the response? What did you get from them? Did they like promise you the world? Did they deliver what they promised? You know how we as parents want to ginger, like, I'm going to give you A, B, C, D. When the result comes, then we'll not negotiate how we'll first give you A before B and C. So how was it though?
I think I'm sure actually that what my parents have given me for this is the best gift I could have asked for. What I was promised was I would be able to go to any university of my choice. And by the grace of God, I was able to secure admission into several universities in the United Kingdom. And I have decided and I have my place confirmed at a Russell Group University in the United
Wow, congratulations.
So I'm just praying that God blesses my parents, the finances they need, so they go through with their promise.
That's good.
That's good.
My question would be about your parents, right? A lot of times we see that parents have a role to play in the success of their children, whether we acknowledge it or not openly. So what was your parenting, how do I put this question? How were your parents like involved, not involved alone?
What do you, let me please, I get what you're going to. Your other friends, what do you feel your parents did differently than what your other friends did? Like, what's the difference?
And then are they both literates? You know, because all of these things have an impact on it, on your success. So what was it like, especially regarding your parents?
Well, for my parenting, I would say that my parents have always been people to let us know what is more important. So first of all, the first thing in my house is, God is important. And after that, we talk about family, and then education comes in. Like when I tell you my parents they prioritize our education. They've given I and my siblings the best, Mr. Olumide Adeyemi and Mrs. Olumide Adeyemi.
Oh, they're so proud of you, I'm sure.
They really prioritize education, and they are very intentional about how we read, how we grew up. When I was in primary school, my mom would always revise with us before we had tests in the car. We'll be going to school, and she would say, okay, in your notes, I'm seeing this and this and this. What's the answer to this? But particularly in Chrisland Pre-Degree College, where I did this exam, this Cambridge A-level exam, we couldn't have our phones, so I didn't have my actual phone. We had to get a small phone that could only be used for calls. And I can tell you that for sure I had calls from my parents every single day. My mom would call in the morning, and my dad would call in the evening, or every other. Always, yes. The follow-up was back to back to back. They were so, and I know that their prayers worked wonders for me. Definitely.
I'm glad that you mentioned phones, because I was actually coming to that. You know how Gen Zs love their phones and how they want to play games, they want to be on TikTok. How have you been able to strike a balance between your academics and social life?
Okay, well, I'm not going to stay here and just say that I don't use social media, because I think social media is a good addition to our society. I'm on everything on social media at Disimi Ade.
At the senior day.
And The thing is, you just have to prioritize. It's the same thing we've been saying since. In my school, which is Christian Pedagogic College, where I went to, we were not allowed to have phones.
Yeah, you mentioned.
But they didn't cut off every single form of interaction we'd have with the outside world. So we had these small Nokia, those small Nokia phones that all you can do with it is call. So we would always be able to call our parents and reach out to people. But we didn't have access to phones like Instagram and Snapchat and TikTok and all those things. So throughout the time when I was preparing for this exam, I was actually in school throughout my summer holiday. So throughout summer, I didn't have access to TikTok, Instagram, and I can confidently say that I'm still alive.
Very important that you mentioned that. Right, quickly do your follow-up.
So, before then, I'm sure there's been a trend of you being an A student. So before they collected the phone, you had it.
Academically.
So how have you been able to, stay ahead academically even before you had to write this exam?
I think from a very young age, I just have been pushed the right way.
Okay.
My parents have always pushed I and my siblings. I'm there, Ashe, you guys, you have to really make sure you're doing what you're doing in school. So my siblings and I, we have always been pushed towards the right way, I would say. In primary school, I graduated as the best graduating student.
Oh, wow.
And I finished from secondary school with all distinctions in my work.
Wow.
So I would say that it's the same thing that has been working for me, God, my parents, that worked for me even to achieve this feat.
Fantastic.
Now, I like the fact that you are able to confidently talk about these things, and that you recognize some of these things, the effort your parents put in place to inculcate all that you have become and the results you're getting. But we know how Gen Zs are. Resistance to parents trying to box them into becoming what they feel they should become. How were you able to see things the way your parents were saying them, such that you obeyed, you followed despite external pressure? You're talking about God, but we know how we are, or how things are with this generation, Gen Zs. A lot of them do not really see that God factor. How are you able to still hold on to that factor? What did you understand differently with regards to life that makes you believe, if I follow what my parents are saying, I'll actually be successful?
Well, my parents' style of raising us has not been very, do this because I said so.
Right.
I would have to say that we've always been in the picture. If we're making this decision, you're going to make the decision with us. You want to go to this school. Why do you want to go to this school? We think this school is a good idea for you. What do you know about the school? Do you think? We've always been involved in making our own decisions. So I think from a very young age, I've always been there to see why they're making me do this. Even as I grew up, I didn't have to ask too many questions. Or why did you say I should pray to God? Or why? Because God has been wonderful to us. So I didn't have to ask that question.
Right.
We've just always been involved. I've always been involved in every decision they wanted to take. They've never taken me to a school and said, you're going to this school because we said you should go to this school. No.
Yeah.
So involving your child is critical.
Yeah.
Right.
So my next question for you would be that now you're going to UK, and in my head I was just thinking another talent leaving Nigeria. What do you think about Nigeria, and do you have plans to come back to at least contribute to the development of our nation?
Wonderful question.
Sincerely, it's okay.
In truth, I have never been one that has decided to live abroad. When it comes to staying in Nigeria, I know from a very young age I've always had passion for social justice, development, like economic development of our country, things like that. And I just have always been very involved or wanting to be involved in the whole Nigeria picture, the whole Nigeria story, development, everything. So yes, I do have plans on coming back to
That's good news. The music to my ears. Unfortunately, we have to wrap up this
Yeah,
conversation
your dad is in the
now.
studio.
Yes.
Are you daddy's girl or mommy's girl?
Yeah, bit of both.
Oluwabukolami Adeyemi. I love that name. Congratulations, and we can only wish you the very best. Now your path is set before you. We can only pray God blesses you as you move forward. Thank you so much for coming on the show. All right, we'll go on a break, and when we return, we'll discuss a hot topic. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
So, have you ever wondered what happens behind the curtains of a man's mind? Or perhaps you're one of those who wonder what men talk about when they gather. Well, here goes. Imagine what it takes to put together the perfect cocktail. Or maybe mocktail. We need a bit of sports, a sprinkling of current affairs, some very deep topical issues, and last but not the least, a healthy dose of grumbling of those we love to hate. And yes, you guessed it, women. So, if you catch the drift, then you're onto something. We will provide you with the right insights into most of your curiosities, right here within this beautiful cocktail we call the Black Tape.
All right, thank you for staying with us. Now, Lagos socialite and owner of House of Farida Body Care, Farida Shobowale, was reportedly prevented from jumping into the lagoon some days ago, as seen in a viral video. According to reports, she attempted to commit suicide on the 3rd Mainland Bridge, clad in all black attire, while passers-by quickly came to her rescue. She has since given reasons for her suicide attempt, citing frustrations from her 2 months marriage that failed and many others. Now, what are your thoughts? Is a man really worth dying for? Reports say this is her 3rd marriage. Wow. Is it necessary for her to commit suicide because it's her 3rd marriage? But join the conversation and call us on 081 07641679, 09024163440, or Twitter us at TVC Connect using the hashtag YourViewOnTVC. If this was a 3rd attempt, is it necessary? Should she die because of a man? For me, no. Yes. Obviously. Point blank, no. Because there are kids, you have so many things to live for. Well, anyway, let me not start from here because right now I'm being emotional, perhaps. But Tokwe, let's begin with you.
Okay, so for me, I don't think that she's actually dying. She was trying to commit suicide because of the man. I think she was trying to commit suicide because of the shame that will come with the news of her marriage breaking up just a few months after. It's the shame. Many people do things because of shame. You know, I don't want to be seen. I cannot believe. They must not hear. You must not leak it. If this happens, what would they say? Like, how would I be able to step out of my house? It is a shame.
But she was on social media, even afterwards. She was posting and living life like nothing happened.
Yes.
So, it is key that you admit that something is wrong before you jump into anyway. Go ahead.
So, for me, it's the shame. And I think that, and in addressing that shame has made the idea of I don't want to be embarrassed, and avoiding embarrassment, and avoiding repercussion, avoiding backlash has led many people to commit suicide, led many people to not commit suicide on themselves, commit suicide on another person. You know, that idea of you've gotten pregnant and you're a sister in the Lord, nobody should know. The shame, you do abortion. Or that idea of I cannot be seen, this picture of me must not leak out. People commit, like a lot of things that cause suicide are mainly is shame. And in addressing that is the fact that people will forget. You know, I'm so grateful that she was rescued. She wasn't allowed to go ahead with what her intentions were at the time, which is to kill herself. But I'm grateful she was rescued. I'm hoping that we're able to learn some lessons from her experience about life goes on. The flamboyance, the social media will forget. Very soon, another violence would happen. We will move on to what else is trending. But she could have ended her life and left her children all alone without anybody to nurture them just because of shame.
I just want to say something that suicide is what causes suicide is not just shame, but prolonged sadness is also part of it. There are so many factors. There are those who believe that they are not achieving what they should at a level that they found themselves, and they commit suicide. So many issues beyond shame. In this case, I think it's beyond the shame factor for me. I see it that way, but Damola wanted to say something.
This matter is a very sensitive matter, considering the fact that the woman is not suicidal. So I would try to tread carefully with my words and just highlight the lessons from the story. Women. Marriage is not a do or die affair. As much as I believe that marriage is a beautiful institution, if you're with the right person, it's blissful. But if you don't have it when you want it, you should not kill yourself over it. Then number two, marry for the right reasons. Do not marry because you're getting old. Do not marry because you want to have children, or you want to pepper your friends, or you want to pepper your ex, or show off to family members. Marry because you found a soulmate that you want to do life together with. Somebody that is compatible with you, somebody that have a bigger why to your marriage, because there will always be challenges in the marriage. It is the bigger why that would keep you grounded. It is the bigger why that would not let you throw mudslings and tarnish each other's image online. Just have a bigger reason for getting married. And then number three, please stop marrying down. Some women marry down. Because you are successful, you think that you can just buy a husband or take a husband off the streets. Never ever trust the loyalty of a broke man, because you cannot tell his true intentions until he really has his own. So I understand the whole, don't judge people and give people a chance here and there, but at the same time, ensure that the person that you want to get married to as a woman is also matching your energy. That's my own on this matter.
If you know your energy,
now,
then you can find who matches your energy. Anyway, let me leave it there again. Toby.
When I first saw the story, the first thing that came to my mind was sympathy. I felt so much pity for the woman. Why did I say so? Our experiences are different. So for some people, when a man jilts them, they'll be like, what is there? I beg, man don't finish, or Tony. But for some other people, they're not able to move on as swiftly as some others can, which is a major factor in understanding that we shouldn't downplay the experiences of others. Right? So for the woman, I may see that she may probably not have been able to find a headway from the situation, and she thought that the next thing to do was to take her life. What breaks people differ, and we shouldn't downplay that. And the second thing I was also going to say that we should not underestimate the pressure that people go through. So for a child, we can hear a 10-year-old say, Mom, I'm under a lot of pressure at school.
And when the child speaks, the child says, I'm unable to finish my assignment, but that's pressure. For a married woman, the pressure could be getting a meal for the family, but the term pressure is not to be watered down. We all experience pressure based on the phase of life in which we're in, and then the experiences also matter, which will determine the way we pick up ourselves from such situations. And the last thing I was going to say as a startup conversation for this is that you're not Jesus. It was only Jesus that was sent to die.
Our religion differ.
To die for the world. So in a case where we heard that she said she died because of...
She wants to die because
of love. I want to believe that there are other reasons why, like Tokwe said, she may not have been able to move on from it, and maybe the rejection afterwards, the betrayal, the fact that she spent so much, she probably may have been in a form of loan or something of that.
No, she's good. She's okay. She has money established.
Right? So those may be other factors in which she may have decided to do what she did.
From my perspective, if you listen to everything she was saying, I see it as she had expectations. Unfulfilled expectations is what drove her to whatever she did. Because she kept harping on, he promised to make me a mother. He promised. She has been seeing herself as perhaps a woman who wants to have children, have a family, and all of that. And that was where her hope lied, that this man was going to give me everything that I am looking for. And that was why she gave it her all. And here it is, 2 months down the line, the man was giving her a different story. And it's seeming like, oh, I had expectations of you. Gave it my all. Decided to single-handedly sponsor this marriage, spending over millions of naira to have that lavish wedding, to say, eventually, my last bus stop is here, where I'll get everything I wanted, the happiness I was looking for, and all of this. And that was not met. And the man started giving her negative energy, because we saw there were back and forth between both of them. He even saying that whatever she was doing was just a Nollywood drama and all of that. For someone you loved, you poured out your heart to, that itself could drive you to doing what she did. If you cannot manage, if you do not have the capacity, if you've not developed that mental capacity to be able to manage some of these issues. So sometimes our expectations of our spouses, can drive us to a level of we feeling a certain way. We are expecting our partners to be a certain person, but at the end of the day, this person is acting differently. That is where energy comes. If you do not understand who you are in the first place, you cannot find someone who will reciprocate. Whatever it is, you feel, oh, this is what I need, what I'm lacking, and I expect from the other person. It takes a lot to be able to recognize that in someone else.
Maybe not marry a wicked person.
Absolutely.
Because when you see some of the things that came out on social media after, was really bad. Nobody should say that kind of thing about another person. And when she was saying that marriage is not compulsory, that's when you would see that perspective, because you're supposed to see a kind person.
Doctor, can you hold the thought? Okay. We have John from Adamawa calling. John, good morning. Welcome to the show, and please go ahead with your contribution. Oh, unfortunately, John has gone off the line. Yes, you were talking about kindness.
Yes,
in marriage.
A kind person, a humane person. No matter how we fight, it's not ruffle fight. It's not a let us scatter everything kind of fight.
Be mature and fight.
There's that level of maturity. This is not a young man. This is a mature
Maturity
man.
Is not in age, please.
As in, sometimes you would think that as you get older and you have great
forget
you will have small sense. But like, how can you go out and defame, say private things about someone you're married to?
You just claimed you loved at that time.
Because things just have rearranged itself temporarily. So for me, some of the things that the man said were very, very bad. And women, mature women, young women, we need to be taking kindness as a very, very major priority when it comes to picking somebody to marry. Because if somebody is talking down on his ex, saying bad things about his ex, saying bad things about the parents or driver or people around, you should know that if katakata boss, he will say bad things about you as well.
Just hold your thought again, Tokwe. We have Engineer Afolabi on the line calling from Ogun State. Good morning. Welcome to the show. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning.
Good morning.
My honorable women in the house.
Good morning.
Yes. In fact, the topic you are discussing is a kind of topic that is so viral in a way. The way I will look at it is not the way you look at it. But in the real sense of it, marriage itself is an institution for which two persons have to agree. To agree not on money, not on what you have achieved. You have to accept yourself as a human being naked, without clothes at all. You have to understand yourself that you want to enter into this institution in the natural way, not about your material thing that you have possessed or anything. For example, when I got into marriage, I am just 25 years old, and my wife is 23 years.
Wow.
And we enter into the marriage in understanding. The purpose of our marriage was that we want to get married to be sufficient in love, not in money, not in anything. We want to get children. We want to have peace of mind. That should be the purpose of marriage, not to look at somebody who can have money to buy car for me, to have money, or a woman that has acquired a lot of things. No. We have to put it on the natural thing that you love yourself, you want to grow together, you want to end your life within one another, irrespective of what might happen along the line in materialism. So you have to take yourself naturally. That is the problem that people are facing. Some people will say, I met this person, is the son of the president, is the high class. That's the problem that we are facing. You should take marriage as a natural thing, like you see the hen and the cock. They are doing naturally. Do it that way, you will enjoy marriage.
But you know, really, this case, this is a marriage that was less than 3 months, and the man is back with his side chick. It's already in another woman's house.
Now. Wait, calm down. We need to go on a break. When we return, we'll continue this conversation. Just stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Ladies and gentlemen, Mr. Kelechi Amadi. How are you doing, sir?
I'm good, my brother.
You love that intro, Abby?
Yeah. It was great.
Okay,
thank you.
We try like that.
Thank you.
Now my question, which I feel is a cheap question.
Oh, go ahead.
What does ISO stand for?
That is it. I think I'll drink.
No, you're joking.
I'm not joking.
Kelechi Amadi. No. Shay, you didn't whine me. You're whining me now.
I think I'll drink. Huh? No problem.
Okay.
I've always known this as ISO. I never bothered to know what it means. I know what it means, but I never bothered to know what the acronym is. Tell me the brand of camera that I use, so much so that I even became an ambassador. That's very easy. It's out there.
It's supposed to be, yeah.
I just said, look, I give you this one as a token of my appreciation.
Sony.
Drink!
Wait, I'm not done. You did not say final answer. You did not ask me if that was my final answer.
You don't have any choice again. It's only
Nikon.
How many cameras do they have?
Nikon.
My friend to drink. I gave you a very easy something.
Nikon now.
behind the scene conversation we usually have is very interesting, but let's leave that. Remember the conversation we are having, talking about the socialite, legal socialite, who tried to commit suicide because of her marriage, that 2-month-old marriage that broke down. And we're just having that conversation. And you can join the conversation calling us on 081-0764-1679 or 090-241-63440 or tweet to us at TVC Connect using the hashtag @YourViewOnTVC. We had a caller who was saying that love was what he and his wife went for. Love, peace of mind, that all this materialism that people are looking out for is what is causing most of this problem. And I was looking at Damola's face because it was like, this man, it's not, are you understanding what you are saying like this? It's like you're not getting the point.
Why are you people trying to put me
No,
on the
it's
spot? Are you
what
saying
your
I don't
face
believe
told
in
me.
love? No, I believe in love. Is that what you're trying to say? Like I said earlier, I believe that marriage is a beautiful institution once you are with the right person. Love is beautiful, but with what Engineer Falabi said, I don't think it's enough. There are other things, there are other components that need to match that love. So it might not be materialism, but then there's a need to be sufficient in that marriage, for...
Can you hear the thought? We have a caller on the line. Shuaibu calling from Kefi, Nasarawa State. Good morning, welcome to the show. Just go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning.
It's Good morning. I think on this issue, the major challenge we have as individuals is the fact that when individuals want to go into marriage, they don't look at marriage from the concept of the fact that you can't give what you don't have. So that being said, before you go into marriage, you should be able to look at yourself, how best you want to make yourself good for yourself. Because you should be able to tell yourself, imagine if I'm married to my own self. Can I be able to accept myself for who I am? Now, if you know very well that you're good enough for yourself, the next thing is, how do I get somebody that will cherish, appreciate, and value me for who I am? And on that basis, you will do away with other sentiment that has to do with the basis in which people get into marriage. And in marriage, you should be intentional about what you want. A lot of persons have married because of peer pressure, because of family pressures, and the rest. And on that basis, they don't really look at what I want. But this is what my family wants. This is what makes people happy. I want an elaborate marriage. Instead of looking at for peace and for joy and
Is there anything wrong with having an elaborate marriage?
No, there's nothing wrong with having an elaborate marriage. Right. But, in terms of life, elaborate marriage, or in quotes, the marriage that gathers crowd, doesn't entail success.
Yes.
You can have people who doesn't have the money.
Don't you think?
Well, it's a perception per se, but we've seen situations where a lot of persons. Okay, let me draw up a scenario. I had a friend who works in the bank, paying good salary. When she was to marry, she collected leave, went on her leave, and after 1 month of her leave, she resumed back at work with a wedding ring. And her colleagues were like, when did you marry? How did you do this and all that? And she said, marriage, I'm not looking for crowd. I was looking for peace. I've done my marriage. And today she's enjoying her home.
Okay, well.
So we should be intentional about what we want and intentional about the fact that we want peace in our home. And when we have all that, definitely marriage will be great for us. Now, on the issues on ground at the moment, I think when we have domestic violence, we have emotional blackmail by partners to their spouse, we discover that these women are managing these situations. And sorry to say, it's not just on the part of the women. Some men too suffer same, but nobody wants to come out to talk. Because the first point of help is for you to voice out so that individuals can know what you're going through. Yeah. And at the end of the day, they see how best they can come in with help. But a lot of persons, because of the stigma, because of what people will say and all that, nobody's coming out to talk. I was discussing just yesterday, we were having the same discussion on these issues, and a neighbor now told me, a lot of couples you see out there in the public space, they smile, they laugh and all that. When you go into their home, they are crying because nobody comes out to talk. So every individual should look at this for that. Before I love you, I should love myself more. to have peace, to give myself joy, to be sure that I'm in this because I love this. Not because I'm in this because I'm trying to manage, because I'm trying to keep up appearance to the public, to people. That's why people are dying every day of depression. God will help us in this country.
Amen. Thank you, Shuaibu, for your contribution. Self-love, very important. And the fact that you must understand yourself, what you have to offer.
Absolutely.
And another aspect is understanding what love is. Love means different things to different people. And then what kind of conversation do you have with this person you want to get married to? Some persons do not have difficult conversations. How do we want to run our marriage? What do you think marriage is about in the first place? Why are you getting married? What then do you want us to achieve with this marriage? Then you can begin to understand the person's perspective about life and marriage on the whole. I see that some people refuse to have difficult conversation. Tell yourself the truth. You read the person, not just what the person is saying, but the reaction and action of that person. If you have stayed with this person for a year or 6 months and do not know the person, then something is wrong with your perception of things, your judgment. You do not even understand what you want as a person, because we know that, yes, a lot of people, society has pressured them into getting married. Most people do not want to get married.
Totally.
They don't want to get committed. But because society says, at this stage of your life, you have to get married, they are not ready psychologically, mentally, they are not ready. And so they just jump into these things, unfortunately, for most people. And then the aspect of love. Love is sacrifice. And out of it is expressed in kindness, in peace, in patience, long-suffering, whatever it is. That is how I see love. If you don't have love, you can't be kind. That's the truth.
Yes. The previous caller, Engineer Afolabi, said that he was 25, his wife was 23, and they were just looking for love, right? That's very valid. At some age, at a tender age, you don't really have much expectations. But if you're in your 30s and in your 40s, what you're looking for is not just love. You're looking at the stability of this man. How financially okay is it? So most times when we see older people, older single ladies or men that are not yet married, and we're like, this person loves you, there are more things that they are looking out for beyond that I love you.
Can you hold yourself?
Yes, please.
We have Ayodele calling from Agbado.
Our wooden
But we have to take our callers' thoughts as well. Ayodele, good morning. Welcome to the show.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes. Please, can you turn down the volume of your TV set? It's interfering with...
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes, we can hear you now.
Yeah, as regard what you are actually talking about.
Yeah.
My own contribution is, as far as marriage is regarded, as marriage, can you hear me?
Please speak up a bit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. As marriage is regard, marriage is an institution created by God. But the only thing is that is the motive that behind every marriage. The motive. I said the motive that.
You need to turn down the volume of your TV set because it seems you are interested in hearing yourself. There's a feedback, and that is intruding the conversation. So you can call us back, but that time you have to turn down the volume of your TV set. Toby, you were saying something.
Yes, so I was wrapping up with that thought.
I was from engineer, yes.
But the second thing I was also going to say that these days marriage counseling is underrated. We sometimes think there's a big deal, that when you say go for marriage counseling, it seems like, I know this guy, there's nothing there, right? Because it is in that marriage counseling you find out conversations like this. I'm not sure if the Muslims have something called marriage counseling. Dr. Gino, you don't do it?
I think it's an individual thing.
It's not about religion. But in Christianity, it's almost like a compulsory church to get you married. They must go through counseling.
So that was the other thing I was going to highlight also.
Right, Dr. Here.
Okay, so I want to talk about social media blogs, social media bloggers, social media trolls, social media commentators, those that live their life off pulling other people down. those who build their career and their social media career from gossiping, those people, we need to beg them. It's not everybody that has the strength to handle your trolling, your comments, and your negative feedback. Some people are not strong enough. It breaks them.
We'll expand on that. Yes, we have Ayodeji from Igondo. Ayodeji, good morning. Please go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, my own contribution is, you see, what I observed from the woman was the fact that, you know, in most of this, when you have done marriages like 2-3 times, I've seen a situation whereby people will be saying, whether it's the one using the husband or that's why they are living or something like that. Then at the end of the day, the pressure will step into the woman. At the end of the day, she will be taking anything that comes, no matter how the man may be, because she doesn't want people to talk. We must know one fact that we must not marry because of what people are saying. If you rely on what people are saying, you end up having different marriages at every interval. People are saying that, hey, because you are marrying this person, and you marriage break up, Yoruba will say, no, you will not see a man going to commit suicide. But you will see a woman going to commit suicide. Why?
No, there are men that have committed suicide. There are men that have committed
suicide. It's not as common as what we are seeing in terms of women. And it's because women are always they're always concerned about what the people are saying. Marriage is not about what people are saying. Are you ready for it? Is the man you are talking about also ready for it? Let's not look at the outside world of what they are talking about. Let us look at ourselves. Peace. When we are married because of what people are saying, we continue to encounter problems. We have seen people without husband, yet they live happily. But by the time you say, because people are saying I don't have an husband within my house, I must surely have one. I must surely have one. Because they will be canceling for me. Then you start having that problem. Because marriage is not about what people say. It's about your own peace at home. Because you can see now, from what you have gotten, you might not think she's sorry for what she has done. Right. That means she now discovered that there are certain things she has done that she's not looking at it as, is it right?
Right. Okay. Ayodeji, thank you so much for that contribution.
Yeah. So I was speaking about the importance of having a bit of thought to what we're saying, especially because we have created an industry, social media bloggers, gossip bloggers, and this is an industry that does not understand the impact of what they're doing. We took a story this week, I think Monday or Tuesday, Mariam in the papers, about some two Nigerian boys that are being extradited to America. And got a picture, you know, and a boy threatened to commit suicide, and they said he should quickly do it, and he did it. So when we sit behind our phones and we feel like we have anonymity and we spew hate against another human being, thinking like we have freedom, but you don't know if that person, after reading your comment, will kill himself or kill herself. And that blood is on your life, it's in your hands. I'm appealing that we need to have more government restriction on just allowing everybody come online and say whatever they want to say. And also appealing for the human beings that are typing that be a little bit more, like, just try. Find a bit of kindness in your heart. You know, when you are typing whatever you want to type, to understand that there's a human being on the receiving end of that comment. We on TV, we get it. Then people just come and they will insult you, insult your father, insult your children.
Just like that.
Namundi, you
know me.
As in you get live. I don't even know where I did. Like, you don't know what I'm going through.
Aside that, if they wear your shoes, they don't even know how they will react. But then we need to quickly go on a break. When we come back, we'll continue our conversation. Stay with us.
Ladies and gentlemen, Media Republic of Nigeria, Benga Daika, the first. OJ right here, 7 of 7, like you already know.
Benga right here, 7 of 7, like I'm beginning to know.
It's now time for the questions.
You don't scare me one bit. Bata, I go drink. So.
Okay. So now one chance for inter. My first question. do you remember the names of the winners of that edition of StarQuest?
Of course I do.
Why do you?
And I hate myself for this, because I have this question for you. Final question. No. Where outside Nigeria and what year? Think you're the only one that can be wicked.
I am thinking, because I know back in the day.
Don't think. Answer my question quick. You are thinking too much. I don't like it.
The UK.
Final answer. Okay. I said, God, please, let me to perform outside Nigeria.
Wait.
And God gave me a show in Ghana. Drink, my friend, drink.
Thank you for staying with us. We're still looking at this issue about the Lagos socialite who attempted suicide because of her failed 2-month-old marriage. And there's been diverse reaction to this. Some of our callers have made some comments that we will be looking at some of the issues they raised. For instance, talking about the matter of listening to the opinion of people before you get married. I recall before I got married, there was this pressure about, hey, married is that, and all of that. People were putting pressure on me to marry a particular person because they felt he was okay, he was a Christian, he had the money, he ticked all the boxes for them. But I had come to a level where I told myself I'll be responsible for whatever decision I make, such that if it goes south, I will take responsibility for it, and not because people said I should do it. And I did not. But you know what happened? 3 years or some years down the line, let me say about 5 years down the line, this man died. He died.
Wow.
So, and some of the persons that were putting pressure on me, I came back to tell them, so if I had gone ahead with this marriage, I would have become a widow. What would you do for me? Yes, the aspect of the Spirit of God, constraining me from taking that step was there. To say, okay, this man ticked all the boxes, but this is not where you should go. Well, not everybody has the Holy Spirit, to say, okay, take this decision, to discern, and all of those. But you must be ready to take responsibility for whatever decision you make. When you decide that, okay, I'm getting married to this person, or I'm not getting married to this person, whatever happens at the end of the day, you are ready to say, okay, I did it, so I will come out of it. Because at the time, it was more like, you see the opportunity you have, you are not getting this, I'm like, I'm not going in this direction. You will not understand why I'm not taking this step. But years on, people came to understand why I did not take that decision. So it's important for people to look beyond the opinion of persons, because they will not live in your house.
Exactly.
They will not live in your house. Validation. When you are bearing that pain, the brunt, and all of those things, they won't be there to console you. If you tell them the story, endure. Every marriage has its issues as it is. Yes.
So I was going to say that suicide is very underrated, or the attempt to take one's life is very underrated, especially in this part of the world. We see these things happen over and over again, and if this woman wasn't rescued, she would have been part of the statistics, and in another 2-3 days, we would have moved on from it. I think that there must be conscious steps to ensure that people don't take their lives. For today's case, it is about love, but there are people that take their lives because of debt, financial debt. People take their lives for blackmail. Somebody is blackmailing them.
Can you hold yourself? Because you have a caller on the line. You come back to continue your line of thoughts. Florence is calling from Abuja. Florence, good morning. Thank you for joining us. We cannot lose our caller at this point. Are you there?
Yeah, may God bless all of you.
Right. Amen.
I just had the conversation. It's just similar what happened to me many years ago. You see, a little thing can easily make you to take your life because you need somebody speak to you. Just like what the other sister is talking. The way we speak, it can make someone to take his life. But another one I want to contribute, marriage is not forced. If someone said that he did not love you, please, you have a parent. Oh my God, I lost it.
You're still on. You're still on. Florence.
The credit is finished.
Oh,
Sorry, kept you waiting.
Please, could you just recharge and call us back? We want to hear your story. Go ahead.
In
Continuation
of your thoughts.
Of my thoughts. I think that there are other reasons why people commit suicide. I was mentioning that marriage, yes, is one. Financial debt. We'd heard people that would say that they're owing the banks XYZ and they took their lives, right? Blackmail also is another reason. For people in secondary schools, I remember taking a story here about somebody in the university, I think year 1, that committed suicide also. So I think the conversation of suicide needs to be taken more seriously, especially in our climate today.
It's very important. A lot of persons do not know that when you commit suicide, death is not necessarily a resting place. Like, it is a door to another life. It's very important. And so it depends on how you lived your life that will determine where you go afterwards. Yes, I may be sounding religious, but that's the truth. That you committed suicide and say, oh, I want to rest from all of these issues. At least nobody will judge me, nothing, this and that. I will not go through all of this. There's an afterlife that is way longer than the life you are actually living here. So death, actually, it's a door to an afterlife that you do not know how things will pan out, but it's a reflection of how you live life
while
here.
you're here.
So if you feel depressed, seek help. It's important. Look for whom you can confide in, people you are comfortable with to talk to, who will perhaps, oftentimes people are looking for those who will not judge them, right? If you know people who will give you that listening ear, that shoulder, to just rant, say whatever it is you are going through. We all have issues in life. Forget this makeup and whatever and all of that.
Professional help.
You can,
and then the Lagos State also
has you can call anyone to just help you. Just seek help, whichever way. Go online. You find help.
The person you are trying to go and meet, his own personal.
The
professional is able to
even the professional has his own issues,
but
he's able to manage
and compartmentalize.
Yes,
some people reach out to us, especially me, a lot to share life stories, and I'm like, my heart cannot carry what you are trying to share.
Do you refer them?
Sorry, I refer them. I always share numbers.
All right, we have another caller on the line, Daniel from Port Harcourt. Daniel, good morning. Go ahead with your contribution.
Good morning. You all are looking beautiful.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, I would also encourage that single people who want to take decision of going into marriage should also listen to the program. It's rich, actually.
Thank you.
Let me start from the woman, where she talked about the fact how much is spent in the marriage. When I wanted to get married, I had the privilege of someone who counseled me to say that in some years to come, no one will remember how that wedding went, but how the marriage is majorly what people will remember. That is one. Two, I heard about this issue of love and love. That was what I thought in the first place until I got into marriage. That there are more demanding things in life than love. One of which I took is the fact that I don't have friends where I hang out. So I intentionally made my home the best place for me to come back to always. It's a place I want to go back to. I go out, I do business. It's a place I want to run back to. So I intentionally make that place a place that should be habitable for me. Two is the issue of the fact that in marriage, for me, there are no winner, no loser. That's how I see it. In the sense that I've been married now for about 7 years. And in that 7 years, I've never had the privilege of the fact that something happened in the marriage and my wife will say, oh, I'm sorry. I don't give that time. I would go and apologize.
Wow.
It now became an habit.
Nice.
Because there is no trophy for anybody to win if the marriage goes sour. And so, part of which I have wrote down in my life is, whatever the problem, I will not allow it shake the foundation that is binding us together. There is always a solution when we sit down to truly want to talk. That is a solution. Even in war, we still come back to the table to resolve. We still come back to dialogue to resolve. And so raising hands and raising voices would not solve anything. And that woman for me is that I'm not sure she knows the reason why she went into marriage. We must be fact about this. You can't say you go into a marriage of 2 months and then something fundamentally is wrong that we do not know and I do not want to know. But I'm only giving you my experience to say this is how I want to live my own marriage. And that is the foundation I'm building for myself.
Right. Daniel, can you quickly, I want you to do something for me. Please keep encouraging people with, even though your marriage is 7 years, it's as if you have been married for a long time. So encourage younger people around your sphere of influence to know these things that you know so that it can help others who are coming after you. Thank you so much for sharing your story. We need to quickly go on a break. When we return, we'll continue this conversation. Stay with us.
Stay tuned. Your View will be right back.
Argentina, champions of the world!
Ladies and gentlemen, with those Edo people, we have Idemudia.
Not be first to go. You don't. You are showing yourself.
I go say that's my second question.
You are feeling like a contact the prancing peacock. I'm about to cut your wings. Hello. Now, in the amalgamation of 1914, who was the woman who drew the line of the amalgamation? Who cut the report? Who is the person that used scissors? What is his name?
That woman.
You have done me dirty. I've marked your face. If anything happened to me today, I don't reach my house. Anyway, I'm gonna be chauffeured, so.
You remember now, Avi? Yeah, but you never too thin.
Thank you for staying with us. We're still looking at our hot topic, and Oyedamola has had a lot on her mind that she wants to share with us. Damola, I'm coming to you now.
I just want to hammer on this point. As a woman, as a woman, please do not let anything erode your value systems. In fact, you must have those value systems in place so that when you see what you don't want, you can easily identify them. Because the story says that she's married to an ex-convict, and I'm wondering what the attraction was to the guy.
People change.
People change.
Package.
And she has also said that they've been together for 20 years. They've known each other for 20 years, off and on. So she must have seen the red flags. And I do not know why those red flags were ignored. So as a woman, when you're in a relationship, when you're seeing those red flags, please do not ignore. Don't die in the relationship or don't die in the marriage just because you're seeking social media or societal validation. Also, it's important to note that I was going to, yes, do not let a man feel that they are doing you a favor for marrying you. I don't have the clear facts, but I think she's a single mother of 3. But another fact, you shared also that those children are actually adopted. And I also saw on a social media page where she said, oh, I'm only trying to look for a father figure for you children. It's, you don't have to, look for those flimsy excuses to now settle and choose who does not match your energy. Please always have your reasons right and, go into the marriage with the right reasons.
Yeah, we have some comments.
Yes, Yasmin Maman says, social media is about the worst thing that ever happened. Too much information is thrown out without consideration for one's shock absorber. Right? Then Andrew...
Go ahead. Let's take some of this
Andrew Insta says, as we're speaking... sorry.
Let her finish.
Princess Eve says, the issue is more experienced in Lagos. I stand to be corrected. This person is talking about suicide being more of a Lagos thing than any other place in Nigeria. Right. And Nam says, the woman complained that the man can't... The man says she doesn't... Oh my goodness.
Anyway,
sorry.
I want to just say that there's a wrong societal perspective about expensive marriages breaking up.
Yeah, quickly.
Which is wrong, which is not a fact. Yes, some expensive marriages break up, but even small marriages break up. So there's no need for us to attach a wrong label to big marriages. Because that way, we start expecting that if a marriage is big, then it must end in crisis. No, there are big marriages that are still doing well.
Then this
10, 20 years after. So that it is good, not necessarily.
Bottom line for me, for this, you should, before you get married, have conversations with whoever it is you want to get married to. Know yourself, understand who you are and what it is, why you want to get married in the first place. Don't allow people's opinion push you into taking certain steps, be it marriage or anything that you want to do. And then seek counsel where you know that you're having challenges, whether it is in marriage, whatever it is you find yourself. Suicide is not an option. You have a contribution to society. You must understand that there is only one you, and so the world needs you now that you are here. And finally, love yourself. It's very important. Love yourself. That's where I'll wrap up the show this morning. Thank you for being a part of it. Remember, you can share your story with us, and you can send your story. The emails are often out there for us, where you can send your story, your view at tvccommunications.tv to share your experiences with us. Thank you so much for being a part of the show. I hope you had a good time. Thank you, ladies, as well.
Thank you
for making the show interesting. Up next is the beautiful day. Thank you, and see you on Monday. Bye.
Bye.